Welcome to the IAE 2955 and a special prep video, if you will. So in this video, I'm going to cover off everything you need to know about IAE that's coming up in a few days here, starting on the 20th, just to help you kind of prepare and really know what to expect as you jump into it. It's typically geared more towards newer players who maybe haven't experienced IAE or those who have missed it in a few years. That said, let's jump in. So to actually get to IAE this year, you come out of your hangars at Orison. Yeah, that's right, IAE is hosted in Orison this year. Come out of your hangars and you swing off to the left here. Now they actually do have some pretty good signs set up, but I know Orison can be a little bit on the confusing side.
Hey there.
But you just really follow the signs along, and eventually you will get to a set of elevators after you go through security and stuff here. I mean, most of these space stations look pretty much the same. Landing zones, I guess, they're not really space stations, but you just follow the signs that look like this. That's a nice black and gold theme this year. It's not too over the top as it has been in previous years. Once you come out of the elevators, you're greeted with a very big banner here. But essentially, you now need to take the tram, for lack of better words. So again, just follow the banners. This is a tram that you actually want to take. It takes you off to the Vision Center. This one nicely spawned in front of us, so I'll hop right in here.
The shuttle is preparing to depart.
Now, this ride, or the shuttle ride, can actually take quite a bit of time. So don't be too surprised if it'll take like a 5-minute ride or something like that. It is quite the distance when you actually look at the map. But I will hop back in when we get there. As we pull up to the Vision Center here, you can see just how far away we've actually gone. It's Orison way over there, and that blinking white light is actually the spaceport. So that's why this trip takes a little bit, but it should be well worth it. So you come off of the train, or the shuttle, I guess. Basically just head towards the Vision Center. This is actually the first one that I've ever been to. So this is kind of exploring for me as well, but normally pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so once you enter kind of the main hall, as is typical with most of their IAEs and other events like that, there are places where you can actually purchase clothing or themed things for each of the different manufacturers. Now, these areas will actually stay throughout the entire event, so you don't have to worry about coming to purchase MISC clothing on a certain day. And they're typically found on both sides of the conference hall as you enter it. If you want your special RSI shirt, this is where you get it from. Now, it's also important to note that there are inventory terminals right outside the shops as well. You want to change if you're hunting for them. It's always a nice thing to know. So, in addition to that, IAE is generally split up to different manufacturers on different dates. So this is covering off the rental schedule, but it actually goes a lot further than the rentals as well, because they will typically announce new ships or news for the specific manufacturer on a given day. So, for instance, we are expecting some new ships for RSI that'll probably happen on the 20th or the 21st. Now, there are also going to be CCU limited sale events that happen on a daily basis. So if you're looking for a CCU upgrade for RSI, again, I would check back on the 20th and the 21st. You should actually see 2 different CCU upgrade paths. And those are one-time offers. They will not become available for the rest of IAE.
You hear about the latest Bandul raid?
Now, as you move into Best in Show and the finale, there will be different CCU upgrades, and some of them might be reoffered. But if you're looking to build an upgrade path, just keep that in mind, that they are only there for a day. They are not there for the long term. All right, without further ado, let's actually jump into the hall itself. So as we do this, I wanted to talk a little bit about what IAE actually is. So IAE is, I'll call it what it is. That's a sales event. It gives CIG the ability to actually market specific things to people, and the entire community kind of gets excited about it because you start to hear new ship news and new things that are happening. And you get to see some of the new big ticket ships that are coming out. So everybody gets excited, and like I say, it's a sales event. Now, in-game lore-wise, it's actually meant to celebrate the new ships and really kind of a celebration of the technology that has happened over the past year. It's an annual event that typically happens around this time every year. And in previous years, they've really kind of gone all out, for lack of better words. Now, in this year, I don't think that it's going to look the same way that it has in previous years. This year's is going to be quite scaled back because they are focusing on some pretty big initiatives, and they didn't want to put a lot of time into IAE this year. So this will look a lot closer to how Invictus was this year. Now, I am in the PTU, so unfortunately not everything is exactly the way that you're going to see it when it's actually in game. For instance, this hologram right here, you can actually see the PDCs from it, but this will be focused on the Perseus, which they don't yet show in the PTU. But I wanted to get this video out in advance of IAE so that everyone knows what to expect. So as you come up the grand staircase, really big on reveals. Typically, the main area here is going to be for kind of all of the new ships and the new things that they're really celebrating and really trying to push for sales this year. Let's take this in for a second. Now, one thing that is nice is on the left and the right hand side here, they offer rental terminals. So if you are new to the game or you're participating in the Freefly event, which happens at the same time as Invictus, you can come in and you can try any of these ships. Now, it is important to note that these ships are typically focused on the day that I talked about earlier. So if it's RSI days, if it's RSI's day on the 20th, you'll see a lot of RSI focused ships in here. If it's the Drake days, which I forget exactly when that is, but then you'll start to see the Drake ships in here. So if there's a specific ship that you're looking to rent, you have to come in on that manufacturer's day. Now, one important thing to know is you can rent a ship multiple times, and these are free rentals, to be clear. So you can actually rent it at the beginning of Drake Day, and then at the end of the second Drake Day, you can rent it again. Now, because these are 2-day rentals, that means that you can actually have the ship for 4 days. But then come the finale, you often have the ability to rent it again. So you can do the same thing again. So if there's a ship that you're really kind of debating whether you want to buy, let's say the Mule, because everybody loves a Mule, it actually gives you the capability to try it for up to 4 days, which, 4 days during the Drake days and then 4 days during the finale. So I guess it's 8 days total. But that being said, keep in mind your CCU and your sales happen on the specific manufacturer's day. So it's just nice to note that you're not limited to renting these once. Now, I kid, I don't think anybody's really going to do that with the Mule, but the Vulture, for instance, it's a nice way to really get a good feel for salvage before you actually spend real money on it. Now, again, as I always will do, I do need to stress that you don't need to spend real money on any ship in this game. Every ship will be available to be purchased in the game itself. But for a lot of people, it takes a lot of money to actually purchase these ships in game, like Alpha UEC. So you don't want to waste the money there either. So when I say purchase, I don't necessarily mean for real money. I'm also talking about real or in-game currency as well. Anyway, moving away from the rentals. So again, the ship floor will probably change. I know they have a couple of placeholder ships in here, which I'll talk about the ships themselves when we in a different section in a few seconds. But during the IAE, there will also be time-limited sales. So for instance, if you're really interested in purchasing the Kraken, on the website you can see that there were different slots that you can purchase it, and they release them in small amounts. So they might release 1,000 different Kraken that people can purchase, and once they're gone, they're gone. So if you're really interested in purchasing a ship, make sure that you check that out as well. It's typically specific for your larger ships. Is this the actual MDC? No, it's the Lynx. So, weird ship to include in the middle here. The other thing that's worth mentioning is there are several ships that are going to be increasing in price after IAE. So, for instance, the Hull A, the Hull B, the Argo Raft, and the Raelin, they've said this will be the last time to purchase them at the discounted rates. So if you've been on the fence about purchasing any of those for real money, those prices will be going up in the future. So IAE is actually a really good opportunity to grab one of those while you can. Speaking of sales and real money, there will probably also be patch packs that are released like they do with every patch. That'll be kind of IAE themed. So that's good to note as well if you're really looking to pick something up and you really love the color scheme. Also, the F8C Lightning will no longer be exclusive to people with a golden ticket. Now, anyone who has a golden ticket and purchased a ship previous to IAE, or anyone who's actually earned it through other means as well, they'll be given a special skin, just to kind of celebrate the fact that you did earn it that way. But everyone will be available, everyone will be capable of purchasing the F8C Lightning for real money. So if that's something you've been waiting for, you should be really excited. All right, let's talk about the best in show when we travel off to these other halls here. Now again, these halls will change slightly by the time that you see them in the real game, but it's kind of a nice tour in the meantime. So the best in show is the top 4 ships that were identified during the ship throwdown. They will receive special paints, normally a banner of some type, and really a celebration of those ships within the verse. Now, this year, I believe it's a black and gold theme for IAE, so you'll actually get specific themed paints for each ship. Now, one thing that's important to note is this year they are only doing one pass. So the ship needs to be in your hangar by the 29th of November. What that means is that you have to own the ship for real money. You can't just buy it in game. You have to have purchased the ship for real money, and it has to be in your hangar. No buyback tokens, no CCU chain, anything like that. You need the real ship in your hangar. Now, if the ship is in your hangar, shortly after the 29th, it normally takes a few days, you will receive the paint, and normally they have a banner, just like one of these stand-up things here that really celebrates that specific ship. But after you receive the paints, you're welcome to sell or melt or whatever you want to call the ship, and you will keep the paint. Now, if you have purchased the best in show version, when you melt the ship, you're actually going to be melting the paint with it. So if there's a ship, like let's say you're really looking forward to the Polaris, buy the regular version of the Polaris, not the best in show version of the Polaris, if you plan on melting it. Because then when you melt it, you keep the paint. Which then when you earn a Polaris in game, you can then apply to that Polaris in game. So that's important to know, because I know there have been several people that I've seen online buy the best in show version. They wanted to keep the paint and they wanted to melt the ship. So if you're here just to collect paints, that's a nice kind of way to get around that. Now let's talk about the new ships for a second here. So there are several new ships that have been kind of somewhat confirmed. They will all appear in this center hall, likely anyway. And then there's some that are kind of speculation as well.
Yeah, they've done a good job.
So, just as I head over to the other halls here, the one that is kind of being snuck in, I want to say, I believe we'll see the Golem OX. That's going to be a cargo version of the Golem. So if you remember, the Golem is that little tiny mining ship. Now they'll probably take out the mining bags and put in either 216 SCU or 132 SCU for cargo. That's going to make it kind of a small carrier, I guess, that carries a large size of cargo. Is an odd thing. Now you'll probably actually even see that in the Drake Hall here. Another one that is more than likely going to be seen in game with IAE as well is going to be the Drake Clipper. Now, that's probably what that big center area is for. That's that weird silhouette that we saw in CitizenCon last year. So the Drake Clipper, I'm not really sure exactly what it is, but there's some suspicion out there that it's going to be a light freight or light fighter or medium fighter kind of thing. So maybe a combination between a freight and a fighter. Really interesting to see what that ship's all about. A couple other ships that we could probably expect to see. It's going to be the Greycat MDC, going to be a missile version of the MTC. We can probably also expect to see the RSI Salvation. Now, the general consensus on this one is that it's going to be a starter version of a salvage ship. Now, they did feature that in one of their behind the ship episodes, or one of those episodes earlier in the year. I don't think it was actually behind the ship, but they did actually show kind of the mock-ups of it, and it looks more like a Mantis than anything. Now, we're also expecting to see the L-22 Alpha Wolf, which is essentially the laser version of the Wolf. And there's some hope to see the RSI Hermes as well. Now, I'm not sure if that will actually be the case, but we can hope, right? The RSI Hermes, in case anyone doesn't know, is a cargo version of the Apollo. I'm actually really excited to see this, and I may trade in my Taurus for it. Because I love the Apollo frame, I just don't see the purpose in the medical ship gameplay at the moment in the game. Not like that anyway. I've got enough larger ships that have medical bays that I don't see the purpose of it personally. But I do love the frame of it. So it'd be really nice to see that in game. Now, I'm not sure if you'll see that in IAE or if it'll be maybe the December patch, but I know that it's probably getting pretty close to being released. Well, that's really everything that you need to know for IAE this year, and kind of boil down as quickly as I could give it to you. So if you have any questions, post them in the comments below. I'll happily answer anything that I know. And with that said, I can't wait to see you in the verse.